Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Everything Business. If it's your first time, please like, subscribe, and share. If you are a regular visitor, thank you for always coming, and I hope that you will enjoy this tutorial. Well, I know it's backed by a popular demand, right? Persons have been, very interested in the SBA guide, and so we are back for part 2 with this Business Cognate SBA guide. Right, there were some things that I forget to mention in the first video. Information such as the word limit for the SBA, which is 1,000 words. Right, so this SBA, right, it's not a wordy SBA. Right, so for those of you who like to write a lot, then this is not the avenue or the SBA to be writing a lot. All right, so you want to keep your information short, concise, and to the point. Also, I want to state a disclaimer here that some opinions about writing styles, verbiage, and sectioning may vary depending on the teacher, right? But the information that is given right here, it is taken from the rubric that is included in the CSEC syllabus, right? That was created in 2017. That became effective for examinations in 2019. Right, so if you follow the rubric to the T, which is what I have done here in my videos, right, I have followed the rubric to the T, therefore you can guarantee you getting the marks, right, because the rubric makes it less subjective and more objective, so that if you have everything that is on the rubric, then teachers, I don't see any reason why teachers should be deducting marks from your work. All right, so the last time we had stopped at, in part 1, I had stopped at methodology, right, data collection. So we're going to be moving on to another big topic in the SBA, presentation and analysis of data. It values 10 marks. Some teachers choose to separate this section, break it up into 2, while some teachers will include it in just one big section, right? It depends on the teacher what they decide. Right, now, during the presentation analysis of data, it's very important. Now, you need to use tables, charts, and graphs to represent or to present your data or findings. Be sure to label your diagrams well. For example, figure 1, pie chart showing age groups of unemployed residents in Apple Lane. Right, so you're labeling your diagram. Don't just put the diagram there and leave it like that. You have to label it. Right, labeling, it enhances understanding by the reader. Right, now use information from your questionnaire, survey, and interview to create your tables, your charts, and your graph. Right, ensure that what you set out to achieve in your objectives is represented in the presentation and analysis of data. Don't just put random tables, random graph, random information in your presentation and analysis of data, and it has no bearing on your objectives. You will lose marks for that. All right, so please bear that in mind. All right, so continuing with the presentation and analysis of data, you can analyze each diagram straight away, or you may be asked by some teachers to create another heading, as I was stating earlier, right, called analysis of data, where you will now analyze or explain the diagrams. Right, quite frankly, I like it if you just, all right, say you have one heading, one section where you have the diagram there, and then you just analyze the diagram right then and there. For me personally, it is easier to mark. Right, now when analyzing the data, just explain what each diagram is saying. So you don't need any big thing, right? You're just explaining what the diagram is saying. So for example, based on the information represented in figure 1, it is clear to see that 70% of unemployed residents in Apple Lane are between the ages of 19 to 25. This indicates that it is difficult for a number of young people from Apple Lane to acquire jobs after leaving high school. It could also mean that a number of young people from Apple Lane are not being qualified for jobs upon leaving high school. And that's it. You explain that diagram, right? The diagram that was talking about the age group of the unemployed in Apple Lane. You don't need to write anything else about that diagram. So that's a nice little half a paragraph, if you will. All right, and that should do it for your presentation and analysis of your data. Please ensure that you at least have four diagrams, at least four. So you can have a table, a pie chart, or whatever. Don't just have one type of information in your presentation and analysis of the data. Don't just have pure pie charts, or don't just have all bar graph, right? Try to vary, try to mix it up a little bit. All right. Then we move on to the conclusion. The conclusion is next on the mark scheme. It values 4 marks, right? And the conclusion basically summarizes the project, right? And this section can be done in like a paragraph, right? You don't need to write any long page on this, just a paragraph. So you have to ensure that your concluding statement is in relation to your findings, right, and objectives, right? For example, the researchers started out hoping to ascertain the cause or causes of unemployment in Appalachian Parish Country. Findings revealed that some of the main causes of unemployment of residents in Appalachian is that a lot of young people ages 19 to 25 are not qualified with either skills or academia. Another cause is that because of the high level of violence that prevails in the area, it would seem that business owners are wary of hiring from that area. And that's it, your conclusion, right? You provide the reader with a concise summary basically of what the project was about, what the findings are. That's basically what your conclusion should entail. All right, should entail. You don't need to write any 3 paragraph on this. Remember, 1,000 word limit. All right. So then we move on to recommendation. Personally, sometimes I would prefer the recommendation to come before the conclusion, but the mark scheme, the rubric states the conclusion before the recommendation. So the recommendation is another 4 marks, right? Now you can use 1 paragraph or 2 short paragraphs, right, for this section. Recommendations can be 2-folded, right? And you need to ask yourselves these 2 questions in a realistic and logical way, right? So you need to ask yourself first, how could this research have been better? How could you have made the research better, right? It shows some form of evaluation. It shows some form of tact in what you're doing. So for example, the researcher could have studied in more detail the lifestyle and practices of the residents of Appalachian, as that would give a greater insight and more accuracy as to some causes of unemployment in the area. However, time would not permit for such an in-depth research. All right. Another question that you need to ask yourself is, what can be a possible solution or solutions to the problem that was investigated or studied? So you could write, for example, upon examining the findings, the researcher recommends that parents in the area do a better job of ensuring that greater emphasis is placed on education. The researcher also recommends more skilled level training be done at the secondary school level, as this will make young people in the area more marketable. Right, and there you go. Those are just about 2 short paragraphs for your recommendation, and that's 4 marks, right? That's 4 marks, right there, right? And then we come to the bibliography, right? Now you may be wondering, what is the bibliography? And it values 1 mark, right? Every mark counts, so please ensure that you put in your bibliography at the end of your project, right? So the bibliography basically states, where you may have acquired some scholarly information. Right? You may have used a textbook to define various terms such as unemployment, which would be perfect, by the way, for the background of the topics. You could include that in there, how you define unemployment. All right. Now, this is an example of how a bibliography, should look, right? So I want you to pay attention. So the first thing that you'll have there is the name of the author. Then you would have the year of publication, and I want you to pay attention to the punctuation. So it is smart, comma, A. Smart is the last name of the person, so you start with the last name of the author, right? Smart is the last name of the author. You have a comma, then you have his initial for his first name, then you have a full stop, and then you have the year of publication there in bracket, then a full stop, right? And then you move on to the name of the book or the source that you get the information from. So the name of this book is Unemployment, a Rising Issue in the Caribbean. That is the name of the book, right? Then you have a full stop there, and then you have the name of the publisher, right, which is Dove Publishing Company. Then you have a comma there, and then you can have the page number, right, just to show that you did not plagiarize, or just to show to give credit rather to the source of your information. All right. Also, you would have your appendices, or is where you would put your questionnaire, your interview question, right? If you have a checklist for your observation, you would put that there in your appendices. Also, you would put your survey, an example of your survey, right, in the appendices, right? You can take pictures if you want of the area, right? Whatever you think would nice it up. You could take some pictures, put there in your appendices just the same. It's not like you're going to get any additional mark for it, but at least it will make your project look a little better. All right. And so final marks, overall presentation, right? So the overall presentation, as I was talking about, the appendices is important. You could put your stuff there, right? Now the overall presentation, they look at correct spelling, grammar, 1 mark for that. Expression of ideas in a logical and unambiguous way, right? So unambiguous, you're talking about a clear way, right? So they want you to express your ideas in a clear and logical way. Also, do a spell check to ensure correct spelling and grammar, right? And do a word count at the end to ensure that you stay within the 1,000 word limit, right? The bibliography and the appendices does not count, right, in the word count. Also, your front page, right, maybe your acknowledgement or your introduction, those type of things is not counted in the word limit, right? The only thing that will count in the word limit, right, is the information, basically what you are getting marks for. I don't even think the table of contents is counted in the word limit. All right, so ensure that you do your word limit check to ensure that you don't go over the 1,000 word limit. All right, so please remember to like, subscribe, and share, right? You can send me an email, right, if you want further assistance with the SBA, right? And you can also check out my Instagram page. It is in a work in progress right now, but you can check it out, right? And also follow on Instagram. Thank you for viewing. Like, subscribe, share, click that notification bell so that you never miss a free tutorial. All right, well, good. Peace out.